Hey kids, this is a nice extra math video, maybe not so extra in the future, maybe I'll make more homework videos, but lesson 13 in module 5 is a doozy. So I am here to provide a little bit of help for you. So we're finding the area of rectangles, and as you know, we've been talking a lot about the formula of area. It's length times width. And so I always say write the formula first thing so that you can just plug in the numbers. Somebody said, what do you mean by plug in? And I said, well, if I know this one thing about this problem is that the length is going to be this measurement and the width is going to be this measurement. Okay, so I'm plugging in the numbers in place of the letters, and it's just, that's the term I say, plug in. Next thing, I really want you guys to cross cancel. If you don't cross cancel, you're going to get some really large numbers, which can create room for error, which, you know, it's frustrating when you're doing a big long problem and you get all the way through it and you have all these things written down and then it's like, is that right? No, it's not right. So it is very frustrating. So make it simple if you can. Remember that cross canceling would be the numbers that are in the crisscross position, and we want to divide these numbers by a common factor. So 8 and 4, it's the common factor between 8 and 4 is 4. So I could divide both numbers by 4. Divide 4 by 4 and get 1. Divide 8 by 4 and get 2. I have now replaced the 8 and the 4 with 2 and 1. See, they're smaller. Same thing with 24 and 3. What is a common divisor, a common factor of 24 and 3? Now it has to be small. We're not going up in size, we're going down. So it's 3 because 3 can divide by 3 and get 1, and 24 can be divided by 3 to get 8 because 8 times 3 is 24, 8, 16, 24. So that leaves me with 2 times 8 for 16 and 1 times 1 for 1. And after a while, I just stop doing that altogether because you're going to end up with 16, find your label, put your exponent, and that is for the area for A. Okay, now let's do another one. These are all, they start out really easy and then they get a little bit more complicated. Another thing is that my students, we took a vote as to which method they like to do more, the Common Core, like spreading things out, or just wrapping things up in an improper fraction. And for some strange reason, they love the improper fraction method. So I'm going to be doing that for most of these, but I still will try to show you the Common Core method every now and then. So for this one, 32/5 times, remember this means times, make this into an improper fraction. That means it's 8/8 3 times for a total of 24, and then 3 left over, 25, 26, 27/8 altogether. This is a big multiplication problem. I expect to see the standard algorithm over here on the side. 7 times 2, 14, carry the 1, 21 plus 1 is 22. Hold this spot with a 0, move over to the tens place. 2 tens times 2, that's 4 for 40. 2 times 3 is 6. Add them up, 4, 6, and 8. That means you have 864 over 40. Okay, now that's kind of a big division problem, but oh, the kids love it. They're like, we like big division problems. Give us more. So how many times can I fit 40 into? Got to have at least 2 digits. 80. We'll go for 2. 2 times 40, 80. Subtract, get 6. 6 is a lot less than 40, so bring down the 4. How many times can 40 fit into 64? 1 time. Multiply, subtract, compare, and then put your remainder into a fraction. 24, I'm going to rewrite. 21 and 24 40ths. And the next thing you should ask is, what do I do with even numbers? Because I don't want to leave even numbers there. I know they can be simplified. And so I would say if you don't know your factors or your multiples, then divide by 2. But if you recognize that these are both divisible by, let's say, a bigger number, like, say, 4, then you could divide both the top and the bottom by 4. So if I have 24 divided by 4, I'm going to rewrite my 21. I would get 6. And then 40 divided by 4, and I get 10. And I say, I still have something that I can simplify. They're both even again. And so then if you take your 21, let's just move it over here so we can see it better. We could still simplify with dividing by 2's. And so if you divide 6 by 2, you would get 3, and 10 by 2, you get 5. And so your final answer comes down to 21 and 3/5. Check your unit. Check your label. Your exponent is going to be squared because we're finding the area of these figures. So this is what the kids love to do. I would suggest that if you want to break it apart into 2 multiplication problems, the key here is going to be to look for ways to cross cancel. Real quick up in the margin, what if I took the 32/5 and just for fun, I multiply it by 3, okay, first factor, and then I add 32/5 times 3/8. So what you're looking for is ways to simplify. This could become simpler here, and this one can't be simplified, so you still have to do some multiplying. But I don't really have time for the whole thing, but I just want you to know it can be done, and you just have to break it apart. How many problems will you have? Well, it depends on how many pieces you have. Okay, so this has only 1, and this has 2, so it's going to be each of this side times each part of the second. First by 3, then by 3/8. Let's move on. Okay, for this one, let's turn them into improper fractions. Could be big, but that's what the kids love. 6 times 5 is 30 plus 4 is 34/6. 5 times 4 is 20 plus 3 is 23/5. Look to cross cancel or simplify or make something smaller. Does not look possible here, which means, yep, you're going to have a really big multiplication problem. But you guys love those. Let's just do it. 3 times 4, 12. 3 times 3, 9 plus 1 is 10. Hold this spot with a 0. We're in the tens place. 2 times 4 is 8. 2 times 3 is 6. Add these up. 2, 8, 7. So my top numerator is now 782. My bottom denominator is 30. This is now a big division problem, okay? We are not afraid. That's what the children say. We are not afraid of these big division problems. So we have 782 divided by 30. Let's get started. 78 divided by 30 because we have to go, if it's got tens, we want to go 2 positions. 2 30s would make 60. Subtract. And we have 18, which is less than 30, so move on. Bring down. Now I have 182 divided by 30. And if you look at the 18, you would say, well, 6 times 3 is 18, and that will put me very, very close to is left over. And then 2/30ths is my leftover fraction. And then we're back in the same spot that we were up here. They're both even. So I don't want to leave that with 2/30ths. I want to simplify by dividing both the top and the bottom by a common factor, the biggest one you can find, so that you don't have to do multiple steps, but 2's will work on all even numbers, okay? And that will give you your 26, which you just moved over. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 30 divided by 2 is 15. Oops, don't forget to check your label. Inches squared. Almost cut that off. Okay, next one. 5/7 times 33/5. Notice that when you have fifths that are off in the corners here, we can cross cancel them, giving you a 33/7, which is a pretty simple division problem. 7 fits into 33 4 times because 4 times 7 is 28. 29, 30, 31, 32, 33. And label your units. And that's how to do that one. Okay, now the bottom, and this isn't even the hardest one. Okay, the bottom here, Chris is making a tabletop from some leftover tiles. He has 9 tiles that measure 3 1/8 inches long and 2 3/4 inches wide. What is the greatest area he can cover with these tiles? Keyword, they're giving you the area right there. So you know you're going to have to do length times width. Now, the key here is to realize that he has 9 of these tiles. If this is the length and this is the width, then I have to multiply 3 1/8 by 2 3/4, and I have to get the answer for that. And then when I have the answer for that, I have to multiply it by 9. So set that up first so you don't forget that last step with the 9 tiles, okay, to multiply it 9 times. Now, if I was to stretch it all out, because these can, I could do 4 parts, okay? So it could be whole number times whole, whole times fraction, fraction times whole, fraction times fraction, okay? Let's see if we can do that and not mess it up. You got to organize your work, and it can be fun and easy. Don't be afraid, okay? So there are 1, 2, 3, 4 parts, so I will have 4 different expressions that I'm going to calculate. You can do it, don't be afraid. First to first, first to second. Done with that. Second to first, 1/8 times 2, and second, 1/8 to second, 3/4. Okay, now notice I put the 2 over 1, and I'm going to put the 3 over 1. Now I have 4 separate but small problems. 3 times 2 is 6. Look to cross cancel, but we can't. It's okay. It's 9/4. Pretty easy. Look to cross cancel. You can. This becomes 1 times 1 is 1. 4 times 1 is 4. So that's 1/4, and we can stop there. And then can't cross cancel here, so it becomes 3 20/4. Sorry, 30 seconds. Ooh, better not blow that. 3 times 1 is 3, and 8 times 4 is 32. See what I mean by calculation errors. Okay, then I can combine these 2/4 for a sort of simple 10/4, and then I can actually straighten that out into 2 2/4. I can combine the whole numbers for 8. I have 2/4 left over, and I have 3 32nds. Now I can't make this any smaller, so I'm going to make this one bigger. So rewrite your 8. We're going to turn our fourths into 32nds, and that is by multiplying by 8. So if 8 is my scale factor, then 8 times 2 is 16. Don't forget the last one. And then you end up with, trust the math, 8 and 19 32nds. And it's kind of convoluted. I see what you mean by, like, I don't like to do it that way because it's so hard. But that is the answer. If you want to solve it, well, that's the answer for the first part before we get to the 9. If you wanted to solve it with improper fractions, I totally get it. You would wrap it up, and it would be 24 here plus 1 is 25 eighths times 8, 9, 10, 11 fourths. If there's no cross-canceling available there, you just have to work it all out. And there go the lights, but that's okay because I have a little light on. And so when you get to this point, you're going to end up with blah, 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 8 and 19 32nds. Now, what do we do with this? This is the area of 1. And I still have to do this. So we're going to take our 8 and 19 32nds times 9. Now for here, we have to multiply both parts by the 9. Now, what if I wanted to change this all into an improper fraction? Could you? Yes, you could. But I wouldn't really want to do that because it'd be so enormous. So let's take it apart into only 2 steps. You can do this. 8 times 9 for 1, and then 19/32 times 9. Can't really cross cancel. That's a bummer. I got a really big number here. 8 times 9 is 72. 19 times 9, work it out. 9 times 9 is 81. And then 9 plus 8 is 17. So I have 171 over 32, which becomes a fun little division problem. If you can see it over there on the side, 171. 32 doesn't fit into 17, so you only are going to have this single digit. So then you start thinking, if I had 30 and I go to 5, it'd be 150. Let's give that a go. 5 times 2, 10. 15, 16. Subtract and get 11. And so this would be 72 plus 5 and 11/32. Add your whole numbers, and you get 77 and 11/32. And that is for all 9 tiles inches squared. Okay, 77 and 11/32 inches squared for all 9 tiles. You see what I mean by this is kind of crazy? It's crazy. Now, it's even worse on the back. Sorry, I didn't make these problems up. So now let's take a look at this. In fact, let's see. I think I have. Well, I'll lay it out for you, and we'll see how long this takes. I want to show you both ways, but I might just show you one way because it is kind of time-consuming. So a hotel is recarpeting a section of the lobby. Carpet covers the part of the floor as shown below in gray. How many square feet of carpeting will be needed? So let's just say this is all marble or something, and then this is going to be the area where we need the carpet. You don't want to buy carpet where you don't need it, okay? So you're going to tell the people that you buy it from, well, I only need this many square feet of carpet. So when they give you certain dimensions, you want to find, the strategy is to find the big area and then find the area of the smaller individual rectangles, total those up, and take that away. And look how many calculations we'll have to do. We'll have to do a big one. Okay, well, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 calculations to add these, and then the 6th calculation to subtract. So that is your strategy. If you want to pause the video or click subscribe while you're pausing, you can do that. And then try it on your own and come back and see if your work actually is correct. I would challenge you to do that. So let's break it up into different sections. And so I want to always start with the total. Remember, if you have nothing else to do, you can write area equals length times width. But we're going to go for the total space, organizing our work. And when I have the length times the width, in any order really, 19.5 times 31 7/8. Always be careful to write them correctly. I've seen students write it wrong and then have all these great calculations and they get the wrong answer because they wrote it wrong. Or their writing is very sloppy. Work on handwriting, please, and make numbers that everyone can recognize. Okay, to condense space, I'm going to use improper fractions, even though they're huge numbers, because I've done both versions, and sometimes it just takes up so much space, and I'll show you what I mean when I'm done. 9 times 2, 38 plus 1 is 39 halves. And then 31 times 8, let's do this step by step. 8 times 1 is 8. And then 224, so 248 plus 7, 248 and 7. I'm terrible with mental math. 15 to 55. 255 over 8. Okay, so now we get to multiply these two. And see, look, just creating the improper fractions is a big monster. Now you have 255 times 39. So we can get our numerator. Big multiplication problem, 9 times 5, 45. And then 45 plus 4 is 49. 18 plus 4, 22. Hold the spot with the 0, move over to the tens place. 3 times 5 is 15, carry the 1. 15 plus 1 is 16, carry the 1. And 3 times 2 is 6 plus 1 is 7. I am going to check myself every step of the way. 6, 7, 8, 9, and 9. 99.45 over 16. And now we have a super fun division problem. And this is why you guys are like, oh, this is terrible. 99.45. It's not so bad. So let's round up 16 to 20. 20 would fit into 105 times. So it's either going to be 5 or 6. If we did a 5, we'd have 5 times 6 for 30. And then 5 times 1 is 5 plus 3 is 8. And that gets us 19 away. So we can bump it up. 6 times 6, 36. Keep that 3 there. 6 times 1 is 6 plus 3 is 9. And we're a little closer there. See how I did that in light and then I changed it so I can not have to erase everything. 3 is the difference. That's okay. Works for bringing down. 34 divided by 16 is 2. 2 times 16 is 32. Have a 2 left over. Bring down the 5. All right, 16 and 25 one time. Multiply, find the difference, and it's 9. So 621 and 9/16 feet, and that is the total for the gray area. But we don't need all that, okay? So this is just step 1 out of, as you know, like 6 steps. Now let's find the area of the large rectangle. And this is always helpful. Let's say you go A, B, C, and you put them in, you give them, labels, then you won't forget. It's like, well, I have to find out C. I haven't done it yet. Okay? So for A, we're going to swap in or plug in our 13 and 3/5 times 11 and 3/4. And again, I could take it apart into 4 sections, but it would be really, really long and it would go all the way down here. So we're going to go ahead and wrap it up into improper fractions. Kind of a big problem, but that's the way everybody loves to do it. 5 times 3, 15, carry the 1, and then we have 5 plus 1 is 6. 6, I think I'm brain dead. 15, 65 plus 3 is 68. 68/5. There we go. 44, 45, 46, 47/4. Okay, 68/5 times 47/4. Multiply over here using the standard algorithm. Big time multiplication on the top. Or put your X there. 8 times 7, 56. 42, 47. 0, 32. Times 27. Talking out loud and thinking 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 31.96. I'm going to have to rewrite this one because there's no room. 31.96. And look, I have no problem doing that. I'm not going to try to squeeze it in because that would be ugly. That would be ugly work. I'm sorry. It just would be. Don't make your work ugly. 3,196 divided by 20. Now we have a super fun division problem, but you guys love those. 31.96. Now 31 is divisible by 20 one easy time with 11 left over. Bring down the 9. Love counting by easy numbers with 0. 20, 40, 60, 80, 100. But you can't do 120, so you're going to be super close 5 times. And we have 19 left over. As close as you can get to 20 without meeting it, but that's okay. That will set us up real nice for a 9 here. And 180 and 16 left over, and that's okay. 16/20 can be simplified. Remember, if you divide both by 4, 4 goes into 16 4 times, and 20 5 times. So for the area for A would be 159 4/5 feet squared. And so we have another little answer. But we're not done. We need the area for B. And we have a 12 by 3 3/4. So you're going to look for the length and width of each little space. So we're going to do 12 over 1. We're putting it into a fraction. And then 3 3/4. And we can turn that into an improper fraction. 4 times 3 is 12, 13, 14, 15. And look at what we get here. Finally, something to simplify. 4 and 12 can be simplified. 4 goes into 12 3 times. And then our final answer here is 3 times 15 for 45. And we're going to go ahead and label it feet squared for B. So now we have another answer. But we don't have C yet. And C is, now look at what they have. Check your measurements, 19.5 all the way across, or 17 right here by 2.5. C is only this space, 17 by 2.5. By 2.5. Put everything into improper fractions, or 17 over 1 times 5 halves. Nothing that can be cross-canceled. Multiply 17 times 5, 35. 5 plus 3 is 8. Can you guys still see that? 85 over 2, which makes another little division problem. No problem there, though, right? 2 goes into 8. 4 easy times for an exact 8. Bring down the 5, and that is 2 times for 4 with 1 left over. 42.5 feet squared for C. Okay, now what do we do with all these things? We're going to take A, B, and C and add them. Okay, so we're going to get the sum of A, B, and C. Little gnat, get out of here. Sorry, you can probably see it flying across the thing. Okay. Here we go, 159 4/5. We're going to add to that our 45. And we're going to add to that 42 1/2. Now adding the whole numbers is fine, but the fractions have to have a common denominator. So let's take care of our whole numbers. 5 and 2 make 7, and 9 and 7 is 16. And then we have 5, 9, 10, and 4 for 14, and 2. So now I just have to add the 4/5 and the 1/2. And they need a common denominator. Let's make tenths. And if 2 is my scale factor here, I get 8. And if 5 is my scale factor here, I get 5. 8 plus 5, if I have 8 and 2, I get 10. So I have 3 more, so I have 13 tenths. And that's going to be 1 3/10. So I'm going to put that back together with my 246 plus 1 3/10 for a total of 247 3/10 of all the white space. Now let's check this and get no more space. Let's check this and find a place to subtract. I think I'm just going to have to squeeze it in here. And we go back up to the 621 and 9/16, and we're going to subtract, and I'm going to put it underneath here, 247 3/10. Okay, let me check real quick. Yes, okay, we're good. So now I have to have my common denominators so I can do the subtraction here, because I want to know if I have enough or if I have to regroup my 621. So let me rewrite it over here. 621. Move my water. And 9/16 minus 247 3/10. And let's see, we need to have common denominator. Oh, that's right. This one goes super high. We don't have a common denominator until 80. So I'm just going to give that one to you because this problem is like a total nightmare, a living nightmare. 247 and it's 80. Good thing I did a little bit of prep before I started this. So how many 16s can fit into 80? It's looking like it's going to be 5. 5 times 9 is 45. And then this would be times 8, so 8 times 3 is 24. And I do have enough to do my basic subtraction, 45 minus 24, so I don't have to regroup. And when I do that, 5 minus 4 is 1, and 4 minus 2 is 2 over 80. And 621 minus 247, we can look over here to do the regrouping on this part because you can't take 7 from 1, so you'd have to take 1 and give 10. And the difference between 7 and 11, 4, and then I don't have enough to take from here, so I have to regroup again. And then 11 minus 4 is 7, and then 5 minus 2 is 3, and you finally get the answer, 374 and 21/80ths feet squared. So they need that much carpet. Holy moly. Kind of a nightmare. Like, I don't know what they think. Anyway, this is probably one of the most complicated problems you will see. I hope this is helpful. Click subscribe, come back again, and if you're in my class, I'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now.